Hello everyone, my name is Kaylin Kulhanek, and for my behavior change project, I will be using an article titled Separate and Combined Effects of Visual Schedules and Extinction plus Differential Reinforcement on Problem Behavior Occasioned by Transitions. The authors in this study are Melissa Waters, Dorothea Lerman, and Allison Hovantes. The separate and combined effects of visual schedules and extinction plus DRO were evaluated during the study to decrease transition-related problem behaviors of 2 children diagnosed with autism. The 2 participants in the study included 2 6-year-old boys who had been diagnosed with autism and who engaged in problem behavior reported to occur during transitions in a number of different settings. These settings included their homes, special education classrooms, and inclusion classrooms. Aggression and disruption were both given behavioral definitions. Aggression was defined as hitting, kicking, biting, or scratching the therapist. Disruption was defined as throwing objects, pushing furniture over, kicking or hitting objects, or falling to the floor, which was recorded when any part of the participant's body other than his feet contacted the floor. IOA was defined in the study as trained observers who recorded the occurrence or non-occurrence of the problem behavior during a transition. A second observer independently collected data during 100% of functional analysis sessions and 79% of treatment evaluation sessions. Inter-observer agreement was calculated on a trial-by-trial basis. The number of agreements on the occurrence or non-occurrence of a response is divided by the number of agreements plus disagreements and converted to a percentage. The results of functional analysis for both participants suggested that the problem behavior during transitions was maintained by avoidance of non-preferred activities and access to preferred activities. Each session consisted of 3 different transitions. The participants had 2 minutes to access the preferred activity prior to each transition. A transition began after the therapist approached the participant and delivered a verbal prompt such as, "Computer's finished, it's time to work." Following any completed transition, the participant was required to work on the non-preferred activity for at least 2 minutes, with no problem behavior occurring during the last 1 minute, before returning to the preferred activity. Mean length of treatment sessions was 17 minutes. During baseline, a least to most prompting procedure was used to guide compliance with the transition. Contingent on problem behavior, the therapist terminated the transition and permitted the participant to return to the preferred activity for 2 minutes. During visual schedule only condition, procedures were identical to those in baseline, except that the therapist showed the participant pictures representing the current upcoming activities while delivering the verbal prompt at the start of each transition. During extinction and DRO, procedures were identical to those in baseline. However, the therapist used a 3-step prompting procedure to guide compliance to the transition regardless of problem behavior. In addition, the therapist delivered praise and preferred food if the participant completed a transition without engaging in problem behavior. Finally, procedures described above were combined when visual schedules were in conjunction with extinction and DRO. Results indicated that problem behavior was maintained by escape from a non-preferred activity and access to a preferred activity. The current results suggest that visual schedules alone, a commonly recommended classroom intervention, may not produce decreases in transition-related problem behavior unless extinction is also used. This study also suggested that for both participants, their problem behavior was maintained by both positive and negative reinforcement. Limitations for the study during the brief functional analysis included the absence of a location change only condition. Changes in both location and activity were not separate during the assessment. Additional limitations for the study included the short amount of time during treatment evaluation.